What's up guys, Jay Skate Day here, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to pop shove it. Now pop shove it is one of my favorite tricks and there's so many different ways to learn it. So I'm going to show you guys foot positioning, how to get the regular shove, and then how to actually pop your pop shove it so then you can have it down any possible way that you want to. You can put your own spin on it and make it yours. So let's get to it. All right, so there's two ways you can learn this pop shove it. You can learn shove it first, which would make it 10 times easier because you're getting the motion of getting the board to come a complete 180 and then landing back on it without having to actually do the scary part, which is the pop off of the ground and then catch and land. Or you can just go straight for the pop shove it. The way I learned it was I learned shove it first and then I started trying pop shove it's, and then it made learning pop shove it's 10 times easier, and then it also made it easier to control my pop shove. So I'm gonna teach you guys the foot positioning for both of those real quick, show you how to shove it, and then show you guys how to pop shove it. So for the shove it, and this one's important because it's gonna be two slightly different positions, and you can kind of play around with these two positions in order to figure out which one is gonna work best for you. But for the shove it, if this is your back foot, I'm a regular skater, your back foot is going to be right here with your toes kind of curling the edge, and your front foot is going to be something like right here. So that way you can just scoop the board and bring it back under you. So it should look something like this. The reason why you want something like this is so it's just a very easy scoop to bring your board back around for the shove it. I'm very bad at stationary tricks, but that's what you should get when you do shove it. Now for pop shove it, it's going to be slightly different. And the only reason I say pop shove it is going to be slightly different is because you want to actually get the most pop out of your board without the board flipping like that and landing primo. So the reason why I won't recommend that you guys put your foot, your toes hanging off and the back is because that's going to kind of lean your weight over like this. And when you actually pop, it's gonna make your board pop more so like that, which may lead you to land straight primo. You can get away with doing it like that. It's just much harder to do it like that. So with pop shove it, I like to try to get my foot in an ollie type position or a little bit more on this side of the board in this area, but I don't let my toes hang off. And the reason why is because when you pop, once again, if your toes are hanging off, more of your weight of your foot's gonna be over there. So you're gonna get that versus that. And you want that, not that. So I put my foot more in that almost ollie position, or sometimes even the ollie position, and it doesn't really matter where my front foot goes, but I kind of leave it in the same position that I had for the shove it. And it should look something like this. Literally almost that ollie position. It should give you pop, so then you should be able to pull off like that. So remember when I said that if you leave your toes hanging off, it may leave you primo? This is what that may look like. Hopefully I don't die too hard. It literally loses control. It kind of shoots out because your toes are trying to not only pop with less of your toes on the board, but it's still kind of curling over the edge. So it still wants to scoop, almost like that tray flip and barrel flip. So with pop shove it, that back foot is very crucial. As long as you don't let it go over the edge, you should have a solid pop. I recommend something close to the edge or in that ollie position. I really like the ollie position one because it gives you a nice, it gives you a nice solid snap and good control to bring your board around and keep it level so then you can land correctly. Okay, so some problems that you may run into learning how to pop shove is mistaking your pop shove positioning and your shove positioning. You might still leave your toes kind of hanging off the edge like you would for a shove, and that's going to be no bueno. You don't want that at all when you're actually trying to pop your pop shove it, because if you leave your toes hanging off the edge, it will kind of scoop primo, and if you jump up for real, it will definitely come up and go primo. You want your foot kind of in that ollie position, maybe going closer to the edge, but never actually going over the edge, so that when you pop down, you have a solid pop that brings it around like this, so you can catch it flat on the grip tape and roll away. Another thing about the pop shove it, a lot of people when they're first learning this trick are a little scared of the trick, and they tend to lean back a little bit more than they need to, and they slip out on one of the first fully committed attempts and then don't really commit to that again. My honest advice is going to be, if your pop shove or your shove is going in front of you, you need to lean a little bit more forward. And I don't mean like over exaggerate your lean, but I mean just tilt your body just a tad bit forward, because it's about your weight and positioning before you pop that's going to determine how far the board's going in front of you or behind you. Now, if you're having the opposite problem, you're always sticking or you're always falling forward, you want to lean back just a little bit. So if I'm here and I'm sticking and I'm leaning forward and I'm falling off the board forward or wheel biting, I just want to slightly tilt back. Another thing that you can do when you're pop shoving versus when you're shoving is that you have more room to play around with your foot positioning for pop shove. So if I'm over scooping, most likely my toes are closer to the edge of the board. I could bring it back to that ollie position. I could put it even a little bit behind the ollie position, which I don't really recommend, but this is one of the easier tricks in skateboarding that you can have pretty much any positioning for that doesn't involve you putting it over the edge, which will make you go primo. If you put your foot in that sweet ollie position, I promise you though, it would be basically just about your pop and how much effort you put into the pop shove it to get that to come completely 180 around and to also get the height off of the ground. That's where I like to put my foot whenever I really want a nicely solid pop shove. Just put my foot right in that ollie position, put my front foot in the ollie position, and just hammer that thing down. Now, if you are under scooping, you want to try to inch your feet a little bit closer to the edge if you're having a problem just getting the force of the scoop. Otherwise, you want to really put emphasis on your scoop if you're under scooping your pop shove is, and make sure that you're still jumping straight up. Another problem I just remembered is that people tend to jump in front of their pop shove-its because they're leaning too hard forward in front of the board. Once again, your equilibrium on the board matters as much from side to side as it does back and forth, forward and back, whatever you want to think about it. You want to try to stay as centered as possible on the board without giving you guys too much to think about. If you can ever have this on the back of your mind when trying tricks, you want to try to have yourself as centered on the board as possible. So those are my tips on how to pop shove it. That's how I think about my pop shove-its. If I want more pop in my pop shove-its, I put my back foot in that ollie position. If I want more scoop, I go a little bit closer to the edge, but I don't hang my toes over. And if I want to learn how to shove it before I learn how to pop shove it, I let my toes hang off of the edge and really grab the edge of the board so that I could feel the scoop and I could get used to seeing that board turn 180. So then when it's time to do the grand pop shove it, all I need to do is do that same type of scoop power, but leave my foot in that almost ollie position and not let my toes hang off the edge. And that would be the very difference. I won't have to worry about committing because I would have been doing shove-its all that time, and it's literally going to be the same thing, except for your board's just going to catch a little bit higher than it was when you were doing shove-its. I hope I caught you. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Let me know what other tricks I should try to teach. If I know the trick, I'm gonna try to teach it. If I don't, I'm gonna try to learn it so then I could try to teach it. My favorite thing is to have just recently learned a trick and starting to get it down packed so then I could talk about all the mistakes I was making when trying to learn that trick, so that it's fresh in my mind and I could be like right there with you guys as you're learning the trick, versus already knowing how to do a trick for years on in and, you know, missing key points. So if I miss anything key about this pop shove it, please let me know in the comments. I'll respond to you. Let me know what I could help you guys out on if you are having a different problem than what I'm explaining. Pop shove is one of the easier tricks in skateboarding, so you can mess around with your foot positioning a lot on this one. Don't feel like my foot positioning has to be your foot positioning if it's not working for you. Manipulate it, but remember, with your shove it, you can have your toes hanging off the edge. With your pop shove it, you don't really want that too much because it can make your board go more primo, and I just want to help you guys land the trick as much as possible so you're less afraid to do it and try it in different scenarios. So yeah, go on ahead, learn that pop shove it. If you got any questions, let me know in the comments, and I will catch you guys later.
Everybody's living like the clock don't change. Being comfortable equivalent to the same old thing. I'll be damned if I am living like there's not a better day. It's my time to go and get it. Fuck what anybody say.